There we go. We're now live.
It's in the corner. Yeah, we're there.
Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to a stream with me and Andrew Banwell, the candidate for Reform UK for Thornbury and Yate constituency. We've been chatting for a little bit, but for the viewers, I'm going to let Andrew introduce himself.
Yeah, hi. Obviously, I can only see Callum. I am the candidate for Reform UK for Thornbury and Yate constituency. I'm honoured to be that candidate. As I've said in all the hustings I've been to, the reason I'm doing it, the reason I'm putting my head above the parapet is I've got a couple of beautiful daughters, I've got 3 beautiful grandchildren, and I want a future for them. So I'm willing to fight for that and work hard for that. What else do I say? I literally am a working guy. I've just finished work. I'm not a university-trained politician. I'm certainly not, a member of any party just for the politics. I literally want to work hard and fight for what you all want. There you go. That's me.
Nice and simple. That's how we like it. Authentic, nice and simple. The jobs you've done as a working man, do you want to list them off real quick?
Well, we don't have enough time for me to list them all off. I had a quick chat with Callum, and I left school and became an apprentice mechanic. That was my dad. Back in the day, that's what happens. You got put into an apprenticeship. I'm an indentured apprentice, so I did 4 years, learnt my trade, and then I moved on. I became a carpet fitter. I don't know why, but I just did. And that place that I worked, I became the manager of the carpet fitting. I then went off and because I was a member of the Territorial Army, I had an HGV at a young age. I went off lorry driving. Just for a bet, I took my bus license and became a bus driver. I have been into computers for many, many years, and I'm a virtualization engineer, fairly high up now, thankfully. But yeah, and there's many other jobs I've done. I'm a chef by trade. Because I bought some pubs after many years, I got the chefs to train me. I'm pretty good at that, even though I say so myself. I've actually cooked on TV a couple of times. Gordon Ramsay's Culinary Genius I was on. Britain's Best Dish I cooked on. So yeah, I've been around and about, and at the end of the day, I'm rooted in a working life, not a university-trained politician.
You mentioned Gordon Ramsay there. One of the 2 first-time voters I know for a fact are voting for you. One is a chef who's worked in a Michelin star restaurant, my age. I went to school with him. He's voting for you. He's been bigging you up, as they say, in my youth.
Good man.
And another one is 18, his first ever election. He was 18 this year. Or the end of last year. He's December, sorry, but this is his first election, and he's pretty adamant in voting for you, and that's what he plans to do. Both good kids, and a lot of the people I speak to in my area, younger people, are either voting Lib Dem or Reform, and this is a seat where the majority was 51 point something % for Luke Hall before, because I have the House of Commons letter in my drawer somewhere saying thank you for campaigning. But Luke Hall, unfortunately, from my experience, my first ever vote was Luke Hall, 2019. He's done nothing he said he'd do. There was promises of a train station, Thornbury to Yate. What he did is he cut off the bus routes, shut down the high street. No train station has even been touched or started on. Another one was securing all this money for Thornbury Health Centre. And there's nothing that's been done. I did a quick little video on it, but the hospital behind Thornbury Health Centre has had boarded up windows since 2015 because the windows got smashed up. They put some plywood there. The fence around it's made of plywood. He's got 1 million, 1.4 million, now 14 million. Nothing has changed. So the people who are voting with their heart, Reform. And I believe some just don't want Luke Hall in, so are going for the second best thing in terms of polling, because this is a Conservative Lib Dem seat, to be honest with you. And they're just going for Lib Dem because they don't want Luke Hall. They're voting against him rather than for the Lib Dems. But you'd be surprised the amount of young people going for reform, because they make it out in the media to be this kind of old man party or whatever. But like I say, I'm 23, I'm doing it, and I've been campaigning and all sorts. I do have some questions, and one of them's from a friend of mine, Severn Beach, which is in the constituency, but you go to Severn Beach, there's a McColl's and a warehouse and a couple of cars and whatnot. If you don't have a car, nothing to do. So if you are so fortunate to be elected, what would you do for overlooked areas like Severn Beach?
So that's when I was 23, I got married, by the way. And I've been married ever since to the same woman. So I sort of appreciate where you're at. And Severn Beach was, so I'm a Southmead lad, born and bred. Severn Beach is somewhere I cycled to back in 1977, probably. What would I do? That's besides this point. What would I do? I've had this question from somebody in Ulverston contacted me, phoned me up and said, look, what can you do for me? And I said, what would you like me to do for you if I get elected? And her problem was the fact that there are no buses, there is no public transport out that way. And the reason there's no public transport is because there's no money in it for First Bus or somebody else. Claire Young says that she's going to renegotiate and sort it all out, but well, you're not. You're not going to renegotiate. We have to push very, very hard that there will be public transport. There must be links to these areas for the people that are stuck out there. It's no good saying you're all going to have electric cars or nothing without putting some form of public transport in place. So, what can I do? I don't know. I'm not a politician currently. What do I want to do? Well, I want to go out there and force First Bus to put some routes on. It'd be brilliant as a start that they actually sent a bus to the bus shelter that the Lib Dems have built in Thornbury with no buses going to it. Come on. It's logic. Common sense. As far as I'm concerned, reform is a party of common sense. Let's go out there and actually say, no, you must supply some routes. If you want the rest of it, you have to supply this. What that looks like in reality, unfortunately, I can't tell you at the moment because I'm not involved. All I can tell you is that I understand what the problem is and it's got to be fixed. And therefore, I've got to work hard at it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of bus routes that have just been cut off completely. And what the bus route used to look like over here has now been so compacted because for some reason they took a brilliant high street that made a town famous, a market town in Thornbury, and they said we're going to temporarily shut it down. So they put down a load of concrete walls and concrete barriers, temporary. Said it cost like a couple million. In total, they spent over £4 million on shutting that high street down, making it one way, which has changed nothing. It killed off all the small businesses. We used to have a T1, a T2, and we used to be able to get to the colleges in Filton and Abbeywood, and you used to be able to go to Cribbs Causeway and Yate very easily. If I want to get to Yate now, it takes 2.5 hours on multiple buses, and it's a 14-minute drive or so. And it really is shameful because you would think if you want to grow an economy in a country and in small communities, you'd give them a way to get to work, get a paycheck, pay tax. Instead, you shut them off and they've got no other choice but to scrounge off pennies or do whatever else. And it's shameful because there's people you can reach out to, namely right now, Luke Hall. I used to get emails from Luke Hall. Whenever I sent an email, I get one back in about a week. I've sent multiple emails since 2021, not even heard a response. But now it's election year. All my letterbox is seeing is Claire Young and Luke Hall photos and leaflets and all this rubbish. So it really is shameful. But public transport is a bigger issue than you may realise. I think you put it pretty perfectly.
Can I just say something? I've got no time for Claire Young or Luke Hall or Liberal or Labour policies. They're the same party with a different colour rosette. But I have to, in defence, I'm new to this, and since Rishi announced a snap election, I'm getting 300 emails a day. Now, I spend most of my evenings making sure I reply to them to make sure there is a response. But if I'm getting 300, I suppose how many are they getting? But then they've got teams to help answer them. But just as a bit of defence to let people know, when you elect me on Thursday, the amount of emails I'm sure is going to go up. However, I am determined to reply to people, no matter how odd the email is. And believe me, I get some odd emails. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that, but some terribly odd emails. I try to reply to everybody. I had one today, so I get template emails. So I'll get 400 emails, all exactly the same, because they're templates. So somebody who some group has written out to their supporters and gone, send this to your local candidate. Just change your name. So they change their name, and out comes this template. And I have to look at each one, and you can't reply to them en masse because I need to change the names. I'm not using email merge. I know how to do that, but it's not. You need to look out. And I had one of these emails today, which was a template email. And what they've done is they changed some of the wording. And it said, Dear Andrew Banwell, Reform UK candidate. You cockwombles. Right, so I've had hundreds of these emails. This particular person had changed one of the lines to cockwombles, changed the ending. That's to make sure I read it. And then I responded personally. It was quite funny. It was flippant, the things he changed.
Yeah.
But you can see what he's doing. He wants to make sure that I'm actually reading that email, not the first two lines, and doing a generic reply. So, I'm not defending Luke Hall for not replying, but I am saying what we receive in our email box, it can be horrendous. But I do read every one.
I know the emails can be horrendous. I mean, in this election, you've had MPs from, I think, both Conservatives and Labour, where they've stood down because of physical threats on email, stuff through the letterbox, and public safety. Anything's possible. Joe Cox about 10 years ago, David Amos 3 years ago.
Absolutely terrible, yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's never okay. But I can only imagine. But yeah, with Luke, who I've been to his office, I know the people that work for him. They used to ask me to help campaign for them, and they kind of stopped once I started getting a bit upset. I was never rude. I was never nasty. But when I was saying, come on, man, all this stuff is happening, help us out a bit. Cut off. Guys never spoke to me again, never asked campaign again. But now it's election year. I'm getting his leaflets again. So it's shameful to overlook people. Oh, a lot. I get like one every 2 days at the minute.
Yeah, the Conservative leaflets. So did you see the one they sent out today with the story?
The fake newspaper.
It was about it being 2044. Labour's been in for 20.
Yeah.
Yay.
I got that on an email. It said from Callum. Callum from 2044. Hi, Callum. You voted for reform and Labour put your taxes up. But the thing is, with the Conservatives, we have the highest tax burden since World War II. They claim to be the party cutting taxes. No one I know is better off than they were however many years ago. 2019, I think, is the only year where I've been like, wow, I'm somewhat comfortable. I have some extra spending money. I'm happy. Since 2019, it's just been situation after situation.
Majority. Okay, they say so the Tories are saying about Labour getting a super majority.
Yeah.
They call a super majority tens of votes to hundreds of seats. They had 80 seats, could have
Yeah.
done anything they wanted in government and wasted it all.
Yeah, they really did. I think right now they have a majority of like 40 something, don't they? Because so many people have just either defected or stood down. And it's shameful because we elected one prime minister, got another,
Oh,
and nothing was done other than Brexit being pushed through in January. What did they do? Nothing.
and Brexit, to be fair, sorry to go on, anyone who's listening. Brexit, to be fair, I voted to leave the European Union. And the Times and the BBC have brought up this week that I made a tweet 6 years ago,
Yeah.
accusing Theresa May of being Angela Merkel's bitch.
Okay.
Now, not as a misogynistic quote.
No, of course not.
Maybe I should have said she was Angela Merkel's lapdog. So I do apologise for the language bit, but she was. They didn't put Brexit through. In all the time the Conservatives were in power with an 80-seat majority, Brexit was never processed. How can it have been processed if we've left Northern Ireland, the other side of a border, with the EU in charge of them? So we gave them this mandate, never used it.
Yeah, well, we've never took advantage of it. The trade deals, I don't hear of any new trade deals. I don't hear of much, really. I mean, we have all the power in the world now that we want. We have allies all over the parish, whatever you want to say, all over the world. And we don't take advantage of it because I'd say now, the government we have now, they're more focused on eating each other alive than doing anything for the country or the people of it.
Yeah, massive.
And that's the reason Labour's going to get such a big win, is because the latter has done so bad a job of doing a job.
Yeah.
It's disgraceful. And I can tell you now, I don't see a future where I'm ever going to consider or actually vote Conservative ever again in my life. I did it once at 18. That was my first ever vote,
Yeah, they're destroyed.
Yeah. I kind of hope so. I know we're going to get Labour, a majority in Labour, but I really do hope that the end of the Conservatives is coming with it.
Do you know what? Maybe we need Labour for a couple of years to actually, with respect, show the people who've never lived under a Labour government how bad things can get. I'm an old person now, and I've lived under Labour, a couple of times. And, every time they bankrupt us, and then people forget and get bored with that and want the other party, because there's only been two parties for as far as I can remember. You have Labour, you have Tory, you have Labour, you have Tory, you have Labour. This is why reform is so important, because we need to break that cycle. It's time to vote for change. And I know that's a cliche, but that's what we need to do, is vote for change.
And with the other smaller parties like Green Party, you're seeing them go from one MP over in Brighton, which is like the most left-leaning green place you can imagine. But over here in Bristol, they're looking to take a couple seats in Bristol from high-ranking Labour members, when Labour's going to be, the top dog of this election. So I think people are so fed up with the two-party system that the smaller parties are now having a fair chance of doing whatever they need to do to get in. And people are actually going to vote with their heart, opposed to like tactical voting. I see so many people say, tactical vote. But
yeah,
you just got to vote for what you believe in. Otherwise, what's the point? That's how I think of it. Even if, say...
Vote for what you want.
Yeah.
If you look at the manifestos, look at the contract that Reform have, and vote for what you actually want. Stop listening to all the propaganda. If you want basic tax to go from 12,500 to 20,000, vote Reform.
Yeah.
If you want unlimited migration into the country, vote Labour. Go for it. If you want to go back in the European Union and change our currency to the euro instead of the pound, vote Claire Young, because that's That's the choices. And I'm not saying vote for me for that reason. Vote for what you want. Look at what's available, decide what you want, and vote for what you want.
Too right. Yeah, too right. And a lot of people are actually saying that this election. I remember last time it was if you don't vote Conservative, Jeremy Corbyn will come in. So
Yeah.
even those who never voted Conservative before voted Conservative. I mean, you look at the north of England, that red wall was a blue wall because
Yeah.
people didn't want Jeremy Corbyn. They don't like Conservatives, but they didn't want Jeremy Corbyn. So they voted against something they were scared of versus for what they actually wanted. Whereas this election, both parties have pissed up the wall so much that they're just voting for what they want. And I think it will be the election that changes the way our country votes. And I'm really looking forward to it.
I really hope so. And I hope whoever gets it actually changes to proportional representation. This first past the post, get rid of it because it's stopping any small parties getting in.
That was one of my questions is, do you support first past the post?
No. Proportional representation. I don't even support proportional representation completely because it's quite complex. How, if you look at the way France votes, for example, you just had Marine Le Pen win the first runoff.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean she's going to get past the second runoff because it's all about proportional representation. I think she will, personally, because France is fed up with it as well. Germany's fed up with it. Europe, Italy's fed up with it all. We're all sick to death now of being downtrodden.
Yeah, well, Italy have already voted in Meloni, who, they were branding far right, fascist, all the names, out the playbook that the media like to give to anyone who's slightly on the right. Because even over here in the UK, say this is the centre, that's far right to them. If you're a bit left, that's the centre. Far left, you're left wing. That's how they view it over here, whereas it's really not the case. And with France, I do think Le Pen will form a government. Obviously, she won't be the president because that's not how it works over there. But I think that Le Pen's party is going to win decisively. Macron really shot himself in the foot like Sunak has done over here. I was also going to ask, how can people trust you out of everyone else, and are you reliable?
Oh, wow. That's I'm obviously going to say yes and yes, because everybody else would do. How can you trust me? Well, I am what I am. I'm a working guy. I'm not a politician. I've got a family. They won't let me go wrong. Believe me, I've got a couple of daughters, one nearly 30, one just over 30. I've got grandchildren ranging from 3 years old to, oh my God, the oldest is nearly 16. They certainly won't let me go off to the side. They're all voting, not the kids, obviously. The older ones all voting reform. How can you trust? Okay, look, vote me in. And the first thing I want to do is not bullshit about what I'm going to do, is actually listen to what you want me to do. I've had this conversation now with so many people. I don't know exactly what you all want, but I know that I want to listen to what you want and work hard at giving you what you want. You're not going to get everything. It's not a perfect world. But I certainly want the major policies that you all want implemented, like your infrastructure, like let's get rid of all the holes in the bloody road. Let's work on some of these things. And certainly because I am standing for Reform UK, you can see the policies that I want, but it's not all about what I want. It's about what I can get for everyone else and what I can do for everyone else. And that's the job. At the end of the day, I'm not a university-trained politician bullshitting everyone.
Yeah.
I'm a working guy that wants to know what you want so I can go and do my job and represent you.
I would say Reform is the party of the working class this election, personally, from the policies alone, because Conservatives are just chatting the same old stuff they chat and then they don't do anything about it. Labour isn't really focused on the working class anymore. It's kind of the politically correct party. It used to be the party of the miners who were getting their mines shut down, which you can somewhat respect, no matter what you thought of the mine's been shut down. You can kind of respect, if you're a hard worker, we'll look after you. Now it's all about identity politics and, like you say, opening the doors to whoever, whenever. And there's nothing for working people anywhere other than a reform contract / manifesto, where it's, raise the income tax bracket, tax relief for, public workers like nurses. And that's what working people want. And I think that's what's going to really shock people this Thursday when they bring in all these workers that the polls can say one thing, but there's always the silent voter. If you remember 2016 in America, 2% chance Trump's going to win. Hillary Clinton's going to win in a landslide. All the polls say 98% Hillary, 2% Trump, blah, blah, blah. And come election night, and it's a very decisive win on the Electoral College because he wanted to fight for the American worker. And I think Reform's going to have a similar thing over here. We're fighting for the British worker. So all the people who don't like the media, don't trust politicians, want more money in their pocket, want less government, they're going to flood the gates on polling day and vote for Reform. I really do see that happening. Same with Brexit. I think it'll be a very similar situation. It's going to upset a lot of people, going to make a lot of people very surprised and happy. So I'm very excited for Thursday. I won't be staying up for the count, though, I'm afraid.
I've got to.
Where is it? And what time are you meant to be wherever you are?
10 p.m. we go in.
Yeah.
The council offices in Yate.
Okay.
At least Tiffany and Tomatoes open until about 2 a.m. That's the kebab van opposite.
Oh, okay. Okay. Brilliant.
Still a kebab. And they're saying that the count should be finished around 5 a.m.
So you've got to be...
Are already counted, I believe, or majority counted.
So you've got to stand there for about 7 hours just waiting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm not taking a team with me. I'm going alone. And the main reason for that is because I don't want people to stay all night just to sit there. I'll sit. I've met Claire Young. The last time I met her, she refused to shake my hand.
When was this?
In Chipping Sodbury, in the Baptist Church for Hustings.
At a Hustings, she refused to shake your hand.
I put my hand out and she was having none of it. Rob Lowe, the Labour guy.
Yeah.
Politics don't make a man. Actually, he was a nice guy. He poured me water all night because I was quite nervous because I'm new to this. Nice chap. Not a problem at all. And Alexandra Faust. I can't do the double barrel bits. I can't remember all both of it. The green lady.
Yeah.
No, she had no problem. We all chatted and got on, apart from Claire. Claire was very reserved and she didn't not talk to me, but you could, when you feel.
Yeah, she clearly doesn't want to look your direction or talk to you if she doesn't need to.
And to be fair to Chipping Sodbury Hustings, I might as well have given it. Sorry guys, but I'm having a long day.
But you said Luke Hall never showed up to the Chipping Sodbury one, was it?
Or Thornbury.
There was a Thornbury one?
No, he didn't. There was a seat for him at both Hustings, and he didn't turn up. I can only say what was said to me, and that was that he doesn't turn up for the Churches Together Hustings. He has an issue with Churches Together, apparently.
What's that?
Before he got lambasted and just wasn't treated right, apparently, according to him. This is only what I'm being told, by the way. This isn't quotes. And so he wouldn't turn up. And it was quite good because with the empty chair there, we could all take the mickey like we did.
Yeah, it's a hell of a statement, isn't it?
If you look at the shopping centre gig on Saturday, so Yate Shopping Centre is a private shopping centre. You have to book to go there and do political or religious things.
Yeah.
So I chatted to the manager there, Andrew, someone, nice guy, absolutely brilliant to me. Said you can't come Saturday. The tourists have booked outside Tesco's. They're here all day. I sent a couple of emails back and forth saying, "Look, come on, it's the last Saturday before the election. Realistically, can we go the other end of the shopping centre?" And fair play to the guy. He came back and he said, "If you go down by Argos or down by Witherspoons and stay away from Tesco's, which is where the tours are booked. Yeah, go on, why not? So we
Okay.
did. We all turned up, and the tourists didn't turn up at all day.
Wow.
They
Okay.
booked the shopping centre out to stop any other. They would probably deny that, but clearly they booked to block any other political party going to the shopping centre. So
It's very
there
slimy.
you go.
That's one word for it, slimy. But do you think Luke Hall knows that he probably isn't going to win if he's not showing up to hustings, if he's doing things like that to not actually canvass but preventing other people to canvass? Do you think he's kind
I don't
of
know whether that's
accepting
Luke Hall
defeat?
or his team.
Sorry?
I don't know whether that's Luke Hall or his team. The thing is, understandably, so my entire campaign has been funded by me.
Yeah.
I have no funding from the party because we don't have that funding. Okay, so my deposit of £500 just to become an MP, or to be considered to become an MP, has got to come from me. I
Okay.
have had some donations. They've not covered, the cost. Reform UK advised me when I applied, and so I've been standing since the council elections 2 years ago. And they say £15,000 to £20,000 for a campaign.
Really?
Yeah. Now I don't have that.
No, yeah.
I've done this campaign on £1,500, and I've
Wow.
had donations and stuff, which is great. Which is why you don't see 10 leaflets coming through your door.
Yeah.
40,000 leaflets cost me £600. So all this costings is down to me, and that's how much I want to represent this constituency.
Yeah, wow.
People like Luke Hall have got a full £25,000 to £30,000 because the party supply it. Claire Young, it's going to be a full ticket. It's supplied by the party. Green, not so much. Again, that's why you're
Yeah.
not seeing a terrible amount of Green, because I'm sure, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm sure she's had to fund herself.
Most likely.
So, yeah, again, this is so unfair, because anybody who wants to stand for what they believe for, you better put your hand in your pocket if you've not got a great big party behind you.
But the fact you've put your own money forward, and it's been nowhere near what's recommended, but you've still done a considerable amount, shows that you're in it to win it, and you
Yep.
obviously are passionate about it. It's not like, oh well, I'm just kind of here, and I'm probably going to lose, so I'll just put my name down, yada yada. You're in it to win it, and that shows something, doesn't it? It shows you care. And it shows you care more than Luke Hall, to be brutally honest. I know Claire Young's been around here. I don't support her, but I know she's been around here, and I know she talks to people. But that's all I can say for any other candidate out of you and her. And if I have my prediction, it's a two-way race, because it was Conservative and Lib Dem. I think it's probably Reform and Lib Dem. It could go either way, and obviously I hope it goes your way.
So do I.
Yeah, I bet. But I mean, the people here. Ash in the chat, I don't know if you can see it. My friend Ash said, I said I wasn't going to vote for anyone, but now I'm reconsidering. And my friend here, Kieran, he's the 18-year-old who I know is going to vote for you, and helped me out on Friday, to be honest. Stood out with me while I held the leaflets in the high street.
Here's my friend.
Yeah. People care. It's young people. Ash is a little bit younger than me. Kieran's way younger than me. But these people who would have been, cut off from politics don't care, not interested. Because why would young people really care half the time? But people are starting to come out for reform, and I see it all over the place, but especially here. So for all we know, we could see something magical happen, and I really hope that's the case. One of the questions, I want to go to this.
Yeah, please.
Why? I think you've partially covered this, but just simply why politics?
Oh my goodness, no! So I suppose instinctively, no, I wouldn't. I don't want to be involved in politics. I'm 61. Surely in 4 years I can retire. Except the Conservatives have made it impossible for me to retire because, you know, I wouldn't say I'm broke, but I'm not rich, that's for sure. So I'm probably going to work till I die. Well, if I'm going to do that, every time I go out for a drink or I meet friends or I end up talking politics. I end up talking about what I desire and why they shouldn't be going the way they're going. Well, if you're going to do that, you might as well do it for a living, haven't you?
Yeah, you might as well be paid for it, eh?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how much politicians get paid. I don't have a pond that I can put a duck house in on expenses. I'm sure that happened somewhere back in the past. But yeah, you know, if you're going to do that, go and do it for payment, but also do it not for monetary payment. Do it because you've won, because you've got the buses back, because you've done something. Do it for that. It's here, isn't it? It's here. Go out and do something. And maybe, I suppose, somewhere in my brain, going forward, I would quite like to be remembered once I'm dead for something I did good. Because we can't all sit back and just do nothing.
Amen to that. Yes, yeah, that's very heartfelt. And I've noticed that just talking to you, I was always going to vote Reform, but you're a very heartfelt individual. You speak from your heart. You're genuine. You're very approachable. You're very straightforward, and I think that's all we can really ask for from a person. There's a lot of people where let's use an example, Luke Cool, and I know I keep bringing him in to drag him a little bit,
and he deserves it.
But he's robotic. Like, he looks at you and he shakes his head and he acts like he cares. Like, yeah. But you know it's just gone like straight through his ears, out the other end like that. He doesn't give a rat's about anything you're saying, but he'll be like, yeah. And come election day, he's all about it. You know, doing a politician where they have that fist but the thumbs out and they talk like that. And they do that like it's a magic wand trying to put a spell on you. Like, if you vote for me, I'll do this. I know I've had 5 years, but vote for me again and I'll do it another 5 years. You know, they're all robotic and kind of puppeteered, whereas you sat back, speak from the heart, and that's all you can ask for.
Let me just say, it's really weird that you say this, because even I didn't notice until I did the hustings. So I cannot impart on you how scary being sat up on stage as a hustings is. So you don't know what questions are coming at you. You've got to have the answers or not. And listening to my political colleagues, Claire Young and the Labour, when they get a question, they tend to answer 5% of it and then politically circle around and bring it back to what they know or they want to say. They don't answer the question. I would sit there and listen to them and think, what? And then I'd answer my question directly in a quarter of the time that they took, because I'm answering the question directly, and wonder what I'd done wrong. Because I'm not politically playing games and trying to impress people onto some other track. And I found that an eye-opener at the hustings.
Yeah, if you watch any interview of just, let's say, Rishi Sunak, you'll be like, Prime Minister, did you tell the election date to anyone who made a bet? Well, obviously, I'm really dismayed and I'm really upset that this is happening. There'll be a full investigation. And so, well, you haven't answered the question. Did you tell anyone? They can't answer questions straightforward. And a lot of them are told what to say by their leaders. So say Keir Starmer or Rishi to the other MPs. If you watched that 7-way debate where it was Penny Mordaunt, Angela Rayner, I re-listened to it because when I was working, I'm doing a lot of heavy stuff. Just keep an earpod in. I don't really listen to music. When I get bored, I put whatever's on. and I was listening to all the election stuff because it's in 2 days, and I listened to that debate. Any question to Penny Mordaunt was instantly like 2 sentences or whatever they're talking about, and then like a whole paragraph. And Labour's going to put up your taxes, Labour, 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 and all the Tories. Whereas Nigel Farage was the only person on that stage. I kind of the Green Party. I don't go the Green Party's way, but all the power to them. They answer a question and they don't deflect or blame the other person.
Yeah.
You may not agree with them, but they say what they think and what they're going to do. And it was only really Green and Reform that did it on that debate. If you re-listen to that, you have to put yourself through that torture, obviously. But none of them can answer a question. All of them are told what to say. All of them deflect, and every politician does it. You'll never get a straightforward question or answer to a question from a politician. So it's a good trait to have. You've done nothing wrong there at all.
One of the questions that came up at both the hustings I've done, I can't give you the question because I'm not going to remember it exactly, but it was about how much money we're going to give to foreign aid.
Okay.
And on both hustings, Labour and Lib Dems had exact amounts, 0.7%, 10%. They just totally recited this policy. And I got up, and at both hustings, you think I'd have learned after the first hustings, but I got up and said, look, I haven't got a clue. I can't tell you. I really don't know what they're talking about. It's just, what I can tell you is we're going to cut foreign aid in half. We're not going to give £12.5 billion away. We're certainly not going to give money to a nation that's got a space program. Why?
Yeah.
Why would we be doing that? And people are frowning and shaking their heads, and I'm going, well, no, I'm sorry. I honestly don't know what they're talking about, but this is what we're going to do as a party. And on both hustings, I had people come up to me afterwards and say, thanks for being honest.
Yeah, that's all you can ask for is honesty.
Totally.
Straightforward honesty. And you don't get that in politics, and it is rare. It is rare, but it's commendable. That's all I can say is it's commendable. Because I don't know how I would be on a stage.
Or stupid, I don't know which.
Oh, it's not stupid. I can tell you now, it's not stupid. It's far from stupid, my friend. I did have some questions written down. I can't find it on my computer, but I have some more here. Will we spoke about this before the stream, but will you push for the bus services to be restored / be available for certain routes such as Yate, Cribs, colleges, and Severn Beach, like we mentioned earlier? I know you said about Severn Beach.
Sorry, what was the question?
Will you push for the bus services to be restored on certain routes?
Well, again, we got to circle back to I don't know where they're lacking. I mean, I know Severn Beach, I know Ulverston because I've been contacted about them. I know there's a bus stop in Thornbury that's not getting any bus services because I've been told. All I can do is say, if I was elected, the first thing I want to do is some surgeries. I want people to contact me and go, we're missing this, we're missing that. And then I can create a list of what's necessary. It's real life. You're not going to get a bus service everywhere for everyone straight off. However, City Line, or is that no? First, email me as part of the campaign. Okay. Oh, we are the bus service to. We're green. Our buses are green, and we're going to do this, this, and this. Brilliant, thanks. So one of the first things I'd like to do is be given a list of destinations and links that we need, and go back to say, right, you email me saying what you're going to do this. Here we go. Fix this. Other than that, I don't know what to say. I don't know where everywhere needs a link. Tell me. Let me know. I can go and fight for it.
Well, I know of plenty, especially for students, they can't get to any colleges from where I am.
You might do, yeah.
Yeah, they can't get to UE properly. They can't get to the SGS properly. And they have to take a private bus that only has, one takeoff. And that's a certain point in the day. But you know how colleges are. Some start in the afternoon, some start first thing, some start halfway through the morning. And there's really no way or cheap way or efficient way, if you don't have a car, to get to college or university. And I was fortunate enough back in 2017 to 2020, I never had that issue because we had the T2. And the T2 being taken away, that's the specific route. My friends just wrote in the chat just before this. We need the T2 back.
There you go. Right, Kieran?
Yeah.
I'll fight for that. Get me
T2 bus route. That took you to cribs, that took you to the colleges, that took you to the universities, and it's gone. So that's missed greatly. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, again, I don't understand. Currently, I don't understand the economics of it. It would have got taken off because it wasn't a profitable route, I presume. So, if it's got to be subsidised to make sure that route's there, and then it's got to be subsidised. Stop paying for something else. Reform, as we say, we want to save £5 out of every 100 back office fees, so there's money available. Well, this could go for the councils as well. Why have we spent? I don't know. There's 14 million been put aside somewhere for the health centre in Thornbury. Yeah. Where is it? Because it's not been spent.
No.
So you've got that. What about all these cycle routes everywhere? I'm not against cyclists, believe me. I'm not against this. Except, why are you paying $2 million for half a mile of cycle route? This probably only used 4 times a day. You have to save some money on these extravagant expenditures and put them back into the services.
Well, I agree. I mean, they happily spent millions shutting down a famous market down High Street. So they're more than happy to devastate a community of a couple mil, but not benefit a community of maybe a couple 100,000 or 1 million or something. Right. So, it's shameful, but they will never feel the effects of it. That's the problem. They're not like you and me, where they feel the effects of the little things. Yeah, and the little man has had enough of the little things being taken from him, Big time. Right, so I think I can't remember if I asked you this one, so please forgive me, but what are your priorities, your personal priorities?
Cool. National or local?
Both. Why not?
Local is fairly easy to answer. My personal priorities locally are whatever's presented to me. I'm fortunate enough to live in rural England. I literally go out of my gates twice a day if I'm lucky. I live in the corner of a field. It's beautiful. So locally, all I can look at and aspire is what you guys want, what the people of our locality want. I understand farming, for example, because I live in the middle of all this farmland, and I understand that we should be growing food, not growing solar panels. Solar panels are all good, although we don't have the technology at the moment. We don't have the battery storage, so when the sun eventually shines, we generate some electricity and sell it because we can't use it. We're not storing it. It's not something stored. And I'd rather have farmland growing corn or grazing cattle on, or something that benefits us all in that way. Nationally, I want the country back. Immigration obviously is a huge thing. I'm not a racist in any way. I had this conversation at the hustings the other night. Everybody is continually going on about how racist you must be to not want immigration. I'm not a racist. Both my daughters have had black boyfriends, and I've encompassed this all my life. I don't have an issue. I see past colour.
Yeah.
I see to people. If I like you, I like you. If I don't, I don't. It's never going to be anything to do with your colour, your religion, or your race. And what I tried to say at the hustings was, we have illegal immigration. Now, the Greens say that migration can never be illegal. Well, yeah, it can. If you want to come into this country without any documentation, any paperwork, you come across the channel on a rubber dig, it's illegal. Go away. Legal migration is our big problem in this country. Nearly 800,000 people last year legally. I don't have a problem. If you want to come to university here in these brilliant universities in the United Kingdom, you're not bringing your mum. You don't need your mum to come with you. You know, we could half legal migration by not bringing your mum and your cousins. If you want to come here and study, I ain't got a problem. Fill out the correct paperwork, fly in, do it. Refugees, this is another thing. If you've got people that have been treated so poorly, and there's a war or there's a famine or there's something harming those people, of course, we're British. We'll bring you in, we'll try and look after you. We come in through the right channels, do the right process. But, you know, so that's a real personal thing for me. Yes, we want migration. Well, we don't need any more car washes, I'm afraid. You know, well, we don't. There's a car wash everywhere you look.
But the barber shops, have you noticed that?
Hey, I cut my own hair, so I don't. Well, I've got my hair.
I need one personally.
But and I'm not being racist. I'm saying we need astrophysicists. We need healthcare workers. We need some help with the NHS at the moment because the Tories for 14 years haven't put anything back into training and causing people to stay with the NHS. The fact that Reform have said, you come into the NHS, go to university, build up a great big bill because you're at university, but if you stay for 10 years, we'll write it off. We want you to stay there. You know that? Yeah, you know that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, that's my big issue, is we are a, per acre, per hectare, per however you measure the country, we're full. We need to, Reform says we'll stop migration point blank for 3 years. And the reason for that is to give us a breath. Let us build some infrastructure. Let us recruit some police officers. Let us sort the NHS out. Let us at least have an infrastructure that would allow for people to come without overloading it. There you are. That's my passion. Sorry.
Yeah. No. Don't apologise. This is what it's all about, isn't it? Yeah. That's good. And you know what you talk about. You know what you believe in. You happily say it. So what can be asked of you, my friend? This one was asked by someone on my YouTube. I remember this one. And it's a big thing. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. You say you're in IT, but cryptocurrency. There are a lot of undecided voters who wouldn't vote, don't want to vote, etc. But one of the comments was, Reform would win a lot of voters if they pledged to stop the tax on cryptocurrencies, because now cryptocurrencies is an asset and they found a way to tax it. So if you ever wanted to withdraw your gains off a cryptocurrency, you're taxed to oblivion from it. So the government are winning off of your holdings. So I know obviously you're not you're an MP or soon to be, hopefully. Yeah. You're not Tice, you're not Farage, but do you think it's a good policy to stop the tax on cryptocurrencies to win over some voters?
That's a really difficult one. From a personal standing, I've got plenty of cryptocurrency. Not plenty, but I've got some cryptocurrency. Of course, I'd like to see it not taxed. Policy, I really don't know what our policy is on it because it's not a huge thing. Does it relate to CBDCs? The fact that the government wants their own cryptocurrency to stop us spending and to make us buy the right things? That's a whole new area that I'd like to investigate that I don't know about. I mean, so in all honesty,
Yeah.
Would I like to see the tax stop? Yes. However, at some stage, if cryptocurrency became that main line, it could be the only route of taxation that was available. You know, if
Yeah, I
everyone was
hear you.
being paid in crypto, you'd have to tax it. You couldn't say
Yeah.
there's no tax on crypto if suddenly your employer wanted to pay you in crypto.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some legality or some law set in place where they have to,
You'd
because
hope so.
obviously pay as you earn. Because
Yeah,
I'm always told, because if you were to pay someone in cash in hand nowadays, and
you
not
can't
write
do
it
that.
down, that's tax evasion. That's breaking the law. You can't really pay cash in hand.
Nope.
Like, well, some people do for like the odd job and whatnot, but
There are areas that you can get a bit grey on it, but not. I mean, my wife owns a hair salon in Pucklechurch, and
okay.
she can. Her accountant will say, "Yeah, you can have a Saturday girl in, and yeah, we can do this, but now you have to digitally let the HMRC know every week what you're paying." It's
Yeah, because you see a lot of cash only. I said barbershops before. All the barbershops around here, apart from one, I think, are all cash only. They won't take card. There's no card reader.
yeah.
Uh, so it is a weird one. But yeah, obviously the jobs I do, if it's not pay as you earn or CIS, I don't get paid. So I understand. I didn't even think of it like that. Everyone just starts paying Bitcoin.
Well,
Uh,
the other problem you've got with it, of course, is that cash. We certainly need to keep cash. Cash is king.
yes.
You know, I disagree with getting rid of cash and going electronic because all of a sudden, you know, if we have a massive computer hack and
Yeah.
the whole UK network of computers, the internet goes down, all of a sudden you can't buy anything or even eat. You know,
Yeah.
it's all right to pay by card, but so it's a complex one. But it actually sounds very interesting. And being that I'm a virtualization engineer, and you know, I think that could be a good area to make me a minister of some sort.
Brilliant. Well, at least you have a future position as well as this one, no?
Yeah,
Uh, Kieran, I think there's a Lloyd's, isn't there? There's a Lloyd's, but there were so many banks. There was a NatWest, HSBC, Barclays, Lloyd's, and now it's simply just the Lloyd's. The NatWest is gone. Barclays went first. HSBC went. It's all online and digital, like you say, and all it takes is boom. One thing goes down. You can't use contactless. You can't access your bank. You can't use your funds. Uh, yeah, it's a scary thought, but a very real one. Can you read that?
yeah. What are my thoughts on it? Yeah, stop it. Stop it. Critical race theory is exactly what it says. It's a theory. How relevant it is anybody's guess, really. But no, I would certainly be for not teaching critical race theory. I think we need to go back to the real world. I'm going to be boring now.
That's all
Maybe
right.
4 or 5 years ago, um, I had got to a stage in life where I think I was seeing completely past color.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't care who you were. You were a person, and as I said earlier, I liked you or I didn't like you based on what our chats were like or what we did, how we reacted to each other. It was just completely natural. And then we had Black Lives Matter. Uh, the guy in America, Floyd.
George Floyd.
All
Yeah.
this, yeah, all this exploded and took race relations back 40 years.
Mm.
All of a sudden, we started looking around it who was black, who was Muslim, who was this, who was that. And to this day now, we're all now completely tied up with that irrelevant word, racism. That it's so overused about everything.
Mm.
I'm not a racist. I don't care what race you are. I care what you do to me or for me or around me. I don't care about your race. Religionist. Am I a religionist? No, I'm not. But I want the ability to be able to say what I don't like about a Muslim or what I don't like about a Catholic or what I don't like about a Christian without being told that I'm practicing hate speech and need to be locked up. It's freedom of thought, freedom of speech. We all have individual thoughts, we all have individual opinions, but they all need to integrate without violence, without prejudice. We're all allowed to believe what we want to believe and think what we want to think. You can take it as far as trans and gay and lesbian. I don't care if you're a trans. If that's what you want, that's fine. Just don't expect me to have to agree to see you wandering around in a leather G-string in the middle of the high street. Because I'm certainly not going to do it, and I don't want my wife to do it, and I don't want you to do it. It's just social norms.
Yeah, they've been thrown out the window though, and obviously us both being near Bristol, there's all sorts that happens in Bristol. You said about BLM, they took down a Colston statue in the name of BLM. The organizer got, I think, 30 or 35 grand in donations after pulling that statue down, and then got done for fraud because she spent it on personal things and for her to go on holiday. And then the 4 who actually took the statue down were found not guilty by a judge who was scared for his and his family's safety. And I never heard of that before, where a judge in a court doesn't find a guilty person guilty because he's worried about his own safety and the safety of his family from a mob, which is what it was. It was a mob of people that were obviously making some sort of threat for him to be worried.
Batley Grammar, the teacher, who's still in hiding.
Well, you know who he was?
I can't remember the guy's name, but the teacher at Batley Grammar who showed a cartoon of.
This one, yes, sorry.
Yeah, the guy's in hiding.
Yeah.
Still to this day. Come on, the rule of law should be here. We should be able to practice free speech without fear. But then the police should also be policing without fear or favour, which clearly isn't happening when you look at the Met.
The Met's a joke.
Well, we're really getting
diverse
now, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, is there anything you wanted to talk about or wrap up with? Because it's just hit the hour mark.
I am. No, do you know what? I've really enjoyed this tonight.
Yeah.
I think it's far easier to sit here with a pint.
Of course.
Sit on stage in the Baptist Church in Chipping Sodbury. Unfortunately, I can't see any comments. A couple have come up, clearly. I don't know.
I've brought them up for you.
I don't know who's listening. No, I've enjoyed it, Callum. It's a pleasure to meet you. It's a pleasure to talk about who I am. And I am who I am. I'd love to think that Friday morning I was an MP.
I would do, to be honest.
I don't think it's realistic. My prediction is Claire Young will get voted in. I believe that it's quite likely that Luke Hall will come second, just by listening. I think if that happens, I'll definitely come third. I don't think there's anybody above me on that. However, we can always hope. It would be wonderful at 5 a.m. to be told that I've won the share of the vote.
One of the viewers of your chip in Sodbury Hustings is in this chat. By the looks of it.
Jill, love you, Jill. You know I love you, Jill. I know Jill. Jill went over to the leisure centre this morning to look at the leaflets that were all over the floor for me.
Oh, wow.
She's absolutely brilliant. Thanks, Jill.
Kira says how politicians should be real and legitimate. I mean, we don't get it, do we? I don't think anywhere really gets it.
No, we don't. And that is this is why Nigel Farage is so well liked. is the fact that he can stand there, hold his own, because he talks from the heart, not from a script.
Yeah. I know it's like I said in the debates, but I've been a follower of Farage for 2015 because I was one of those kids. I would focus on politics. Other kids would play football or ride the bikes. I was focused on politics and like learning stuff to do with media and stuff like that. But I've always been a fan of Farage because he says what he thinks, and even if you disagree, you know what he thinks. You know why he thinks it. There's no other politician in this country who's like him, and he's very influential, even though people like to play it off.
Do you know what? Something I love about Nigel Farage is many years back now, I saw a photo of him when he was a university youth.
Yeah.
And the guy was a punk rocker. He had a huge Mohican.
Really?
Search out. Farage has got a Mohican. Okay. The guy was anti-establishment. So he's come from the ground up. He's brilliant. I think he's brilliant. Anyway.
Oh my gosh! I've just seen it.
Yeah,
is that real? Oh my gosh!
Yeah, he's definitely, he understands people. He's been there.
That's bloody brilliant. Yeah, well, I gotta say, Andrew, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I think you're bloody brilliant too, and you had my vote either way. But the fact you've even given me an hour, let alone the time of day at all, I'm very grateful for. And like I say, I've been doing my part, all I can do. I'm working class in construction. You know, I spend anywhere from 8 to 10 a day doing like hard graft and whatnot. But in my spare time, I do my bit. And I'll be voting for you on Thursday, so fingers crossed. I won't be staying up for the vote like you, but we can only hope.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? Thank you for everything you've done. I've enjoyed this tonight thoroughly. It's been good to just talk. And in a short sleeve shirt, I've had to cover the tattoos.
I got tattoos as well, my friend. So you and me both. But yeah, thank you, Andrew. It's been bloody brilliant. All right.
No problem. Brilliant.
Lots of love to you, sir. You have a good one.
We'll speak soon.
Yeah, you have my message.
Yeah. No problem.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Wow. Great. Wasn't that great? I was only going to do about maybe half hour, but wasn't that great? I was always going to vote that way. Bloody great guy. I'm not going to use the word simple, but just straightforward. Well, simple, just you talk to someone simple. Not this robotic, is this person even listening to me kind of thinking. Just like you talk to him, he answers, it's a bloke. That's all I can say. It's a bloke. It's not a dude in a suit and tie chatting out his rear. That's a bloke, and you know what he thinks. You know what he wants. You know he's actually going to do right by you. You know he's actually going to listen to what you have to say and what you think. Top bloke. 2 words. Top bloke. Brilliant. Yeah, exactly. No excuses. No question dodging. What a lovely guy. And we didn't actually... I'll wrap this up here because I am going. I sleep early. I'm up early. That's how life is. He... as people know, I did some work at the BBC Points West. And he did drone footage for BBC Points West. And he knows Alex Lovell, the presenter, who I worked for. Say what you want about the BBC. Great guy. I'm voting for him. I'm voting Reform this Thursday when I get in from work. And for all those who did listen, this is going to stay up as a replay. Ignore that. It's a simple program. It's in a web browser. If you work in construction, you know the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Vote with your heart. Vote for who you want. But personally, this is the man I'm voting for. And I am so grateful to have spoken to him. So lots of love, everyone. All right. Peace out.